Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of The Humble Lone Wolf Gamer. It's definitely been a while since the last time I added a video to this channel. As you can see, I'm doing something a little bit different today. Instead of reviewing or doing a gameplay video or anything like that, I'm actually checking out this tabletop game right here. It's a role-playing game similar to Dungeons and Dragons, but it's Dragon Ball Z. And if you look this up on over the internet, like on Google or something, you'll find a lot of forums and stuff complaining about this game, saying that it's very broken, that the system just doesn't work. And after reading through the book myself, I can see why. And I actually took it upon myself to revise the game. I actually typed out a lot of revisions to the rules. If I find a way how, I'm not quite sure, but I don't know how to upload this to like my about section on YouTube. I'm not that tech savvy, so if any of you guys know how to do that, go ahead and put a comment on this video, and I'll be able to upload my revised rules onto this YouTube video. But right now, it won't have it because I don't know how to do that yet. But anyway, I recently got into tabletop gaming a lot, and this is kind of like a new hobby of mine, and I might actually start making new videos based off this. Obviously, I apologize for my low quality editing. My editing skills, they're pretty bad. So I don't have any like editing software or anything like that. So I'm just kind of like one-shotting this. But anyway, my tripod setup's kind of janky right now, so I'm kind of just working with what I got at the moment. As you can see, I got some miniatures set up here. These are the Dragon Ball Z Full Color R series. They're perfect size for stuff like this, for 28 millimeter setups for terrain. These palm trees, I just got them at Michael's. Those trees, I just got them off eBay. These things, I just bought them. I got lucky buying these things, actually. I went to a tabletop store that was nearby that they were selling. They were just kind of like getting rid of their stuff, and I bought all these things for like $20, all these little hills. But you can find these hills and stuff on eBay too. That flight stand right there, I actually have 3 different sizes. I have that first size right there, then it goes up to second, and then it goes up to third tier. This is actually part of my rules as far as flight. You have the first tier, second tier, and third tier. I just built that with just plastic tubing from I actually got the plastic tubing for free for my job, but I'm pretty sure you could use like dice towers and kind of simulate that. Or not dice towers, but the dice boxes, and then just kind of tape them together and just kind of simulate that. Or if you have flight stands of your own, you can always use that as well. And yeah, Shenron, that was just bought off eBay. Now, going down here, these are my character sheets. The character sheets were scanned off of this book. There are 3 versions of this book out there. They're extremely overpriced, especially nowadays, especially this one. I got lucky and bought this one for $75, but I believe it's going for like $400 now. So, and it's not really that necessary. I mean, the only reason why you want these books is just for the character stats in them, such as like these right here. You want this stuff because my revised rules, I still use the same stat system. I just eliminate the defense, but I use everything else, and I just revise how you come up with the power level and how you come up with power up and hit points. Instead of 120 hit points for 1,000, what is that? 1,600 power level. That's way too small. So what I do is I just, whatever your power level is, you multiply it by 1.5, and that gives you your hit points, and your power up rating should be your power level divided by 2. So that way it only takes 2 actions to power up to full. That way you don't have players, saying, "Oh, I power up too," or I power up too, and then back and forth. It's tedious and redundant. So that being said, let's go over the rules, the revised rules. I figured I wanted to make a video on this because there's not that very many videos on this roleplay out there. There's only I've only found one video where the guy just kind of reviews it, but he just kind of reviews what he skimmed through. I don't think he actually read through it and actually play tested it, because if he would have discovered how broken the system is. So I've figured, just to be fair to the Dragon Ball Z role-playing game, and for those of you who are Dragon Ball Z fans such as myself out there, and also happen to be tabletop fans out there, wanted to try this game, I figured it's only fair for me to share my revised rules with you guys out there. So let's start from the top. Character sheet revisions. I just kind of briefly went over this already. There's no more defense stat. Hits are equal to, your hit points are equal to 1.5 times the character's power level, like I said before. Your power up stat is equal to half the character's power level. On the back of the character sheet, I included some extra stats back here. So we got multipliers. This is based off what power level you are. So whatever damage you deal and whatever damage you resist, this is your multiplier starting from power level 1 through 1000, I believe. And then it goes up to 1.5, then times 2, then times 3, and so on and so forth. As you increase in power level, that kind of keeps the game balanced and keeps you from doing crazy, stupid damage or not doing enough damage to enemies that have millions of HP. So this is kind of a must as far as keeping the game balanced. Same thing with energy costs. It starts at 100, increases over time as you power up, or as your power level increases. The cost for boosting your mental or your speed, it starts off at 10. Max energy attack or physical attack, I'll go over this in a second. This is actually based off your stats over here. The way you would figure out your max energy attack, it would be your power plus your combat, so 25, and then you round it down to the nearest 10, which would be 2. So the highest maximum energy attack damage that you can do with that level is 2 D100s. Energy attacks are D100s, physical attacks are D20s. That's the damage system that I came up with for this game. Same thing, you calculate it the same way with your maximum physical attack that you can do. It's fighting plus combat. You get 23, round it down to the nearest 10, be 20 again. And so maximum damage you can increase your melee by is 2d20. And then we got the melee boost cost. This is pretty much you need to do this in order to increase your damage. So let's say you hit the enemy for 1d20. You want to boost, and you want to boost that damage, and you have the energy to boost it. It would cost you 50 energy to boost that attack by another 1d20 to a maximum of 2d20. So this is your ceiling right here, but that's possible as well in this game. Doing energy attacks is different. You just use this right here, the energy cost. For every 100 energy you use to cast an energy attack, it deals 1d100. So you can only do a maximum of 2d100. So the max energy attack you can cast is will cost you about 200 energy. And over here, this is a mechanic that I included for fighting enemies that are actually stronger than you. You can increase your accuracy or your evasion by twice the number. So this is the cost for it. It would be 200 energy to do that. And basically what it does is if you want to increase your accuracy, it'll take your fighting and your combat and take this number and multiply it by 2. So it'd be 46 instead of 23. So that gives you an extra advantage to try to actually hit an enemy that's a higher power level than you, for example, or has higher stats than you in general. Evasion, if you boost that, multiply that by 2, it would be 15 plus your combat, and it'd be 28. Then that twice is what, 56, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, and then I included a section for, if you want to give your character any weapons, you put the weapon damage here, and the equipment pack. This is where you put all your items that you're carrying. And this is just notes for if you want to keep track of something else, quests, and so on and so forth. So yeah, those are the revisions that I included to the character sheets. Moving on. Now, how to attack. This game, the way attacking works is you attack first to see if you actually hit your enemy, and then you roll damage if you hit your enemy. Whenever you attack an enemy, they always have the opportunity to try and evade that attack, as long as they're not stunned or prone or anything like that. And then if the defender takes damage, they may roll to resist damage. So you attack, they get to evade. If they fail to evade, you get to roll damage, and then they get to roll to resist that damage. So that's basically the way it works. To attack, you get your fighting skill, like on here, and your combat skill, and you roll 3d6 on top of that. Normally, the way the original game had you do it, these numbers in the original game were actually d6s. So you would roll 10 d6s, or actually 23 d6s to try to attack, plus an additional 3d6, which was ridiculous. That's too many d6s being thrown just to throw a fucking punch. So the way I cleaned it up, you're basically just rolling 3d6 and you're adding it to whatever your stat is. So the fighting plus combat stat, that's the number that you're going to add to whatever the result is of the 3d6 roll. And that's your accuracy attack. That's what you roll to attack an enemy with a physical attack. So there's that. Then energy attacks. What you would roll to do an energy attack, it would be your power plus your combat, which is up here, and that's the result. So that it'll be that number plus 3d6. So it's always going to be a 3d6 to do your first attack. You're going to need at least 3d6 to play this game. So you would roll your 3d6 to attack, and then whenever they try to evade it, they do the same thing. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Let's go over weapons. Weapons, it's you would actually get your weapon stat, be that, which is 0, plus combat, be 13. So he has a total weapon stat of 13, and you would roll your 3d6 on top of that and add it to that 13, and that'll determine if whether or not you get to hit them. Of course, they get to evade. Weapons, if it's a close range weapon, actually, I'm going to go over that right now, actually. First, let's go over damage rolls. So let's say you hit your enemy. They failed at evading. Damage, to do damage with a melee attack, it is fighting plus physical stat plus 1d20. So looking back on here, you got your fighting stat plus physical would be 20, and then add that to 1d20. So you roll this, and what is that, a 6? 6 plus 20, and so he would do a total of 26 damage with that first attack. If he wanted, at this moment, when you're dealing damage, you can use up 50 energy points to add another d20 up to your maximum physical attack. So in his case, it'd be 2d20. So he could add one more d20 if he wanted to the attack. So you roll that and add another 15 damage to that 26. And that's how that works. Now, energy attacks, like I said before, they normally cost 100 energy for 1d100. Now, the way I do 1d100 in this game, I actually use a 10-sided dice and a percentile dice. Percentile dice counts up to 10 all the way up to 100, and this obviously counts from 1 to 10. And so pretty much the max you could roll with this is 110 damage per 1d100. This is technically a 1d100. There are 1d100 dice, but I wouldn't really recommend using them because they're very... It's like there's way too many sides on them. I don't really know how that would work. It'd probably be way too messy of a roll. So this seems kind of like cleaner, in my opinion. So you just need at least one set of these, and you would roll your 1d100 per 100 energy used for your energy attack. So let's say his maximum energy attack that he can do is 2d100. So you roll 2 sets of these for the damage. And that is pretty much it. Oh, and you would also add your power stat. So after applying the damage, after rolling the damage, he would add it to this stat. So he would add another additional 12 damage to the attack. And that's how that works. Close combat weapon damage. Now this is where things get a little different. The damage is pretty much similar to melee damage if you are using a close combat weapon, such as a sword, like trunks, or a baseball bat, or pretty much anything you can think of that's close combat. You would get your fighting plus physical stat again, and you would also add the weapons damage, which is on another page here, and plus 1d20. Damage may be boosted the same way as melee damage. Ranged combat weapons, however, you only apply the weapons damage of the ranged combat weapon plus 1d20, and that's it. You don't add your fighting and physical because you're not really putting any strength into it. You're just shooting something. So it doesn't work the same that way. Now back here, this is the weapon damage chart for close combat weapons. We got clubs, it adds an extra additional 1 damage. Tonfas are 2, nunchaku's 2, knife is 1, sword is usually 6, but if it's Yajirobe's sword, it does 15, and if it's Trunk's sword, it does 20. And halberd is 7. So if you're using like a baseball bat, you'd probably use it would be under the club. So defending here, much like I said before, it's the same thing as attacking. 3d6 on top of your evasion and combat stat. So whatever your evasion and combat stat is, you add that number to the 3d6 roll. And pretty much when your opponent's attacking you and you roll your evasion, whoever rolled the highest or has the highest results wins. There is an action called dodge that you can use prior to your next turn. This action, if you use this action, it adds another 3d6 to your evasion. So let's say you sense that your opponent is going to attack you on the next turn. So you use dodge, and now you get another 3d6 to your evasion roll when he tries to attack you on the next turn. So much higher chances of dodging if you're pretty much fighting someone on around equal level or equal power level. If you are hit, this is how you resist damage. You get your body. You would get your body skill plus your physical skill, which is 10. It equals 20. And you would roll 3d6 on top of that. And the total amount that you rolled plus this number is the number that you subtract from the damage taken. So from that 26 damage plus 15 damage that he did before, was it 26 plus 15? That's 36, 41 damage. So he would roll to try to resist that. He already resists 20 automatically, and then he rolls this. 7, 8. So 28 damage resisted from 41. So that's 30. He would take 33 damage from that attack instead of the full 41 damage. That's how that works. If you want to resist more damage, you may do so if you have the energy. It normally costs 100 energy points to resist, to add an extra d6 of resisting. So there's that. If you want to, this is pretty much unlimited. You can resist as much as you want on, depending on how much energy you have in your pool. So it starts at 100, but this increases as the cost increases as you increase in power level. So just remember that. Now, one thing I forgot to go over was the initiative. At the beginning of every round in this game, characters roll a 1d20